Hi and welcome to another episode of Barry Golf. Apologies, I know it's been far too long since my last video, and let me explain why. Basically, it was taking me so long to produce those videos. Round the golf, easy to shoot, camera behind, shot tracer, etc, etc. But the whole production behind it was taking me somewhere between 5 to 6 hours to produce one video, and it was becoming very difficult with work and stuff like that, and it kind of put me off for a little while. So apologies, but the new videos I've got coming out, you've got 2 new ones coming out very shortly. That will be a little less production, still good quality videos, and just more about golf. So look forward to those. So today's video is something a little bit different. And I really do hope you appreciate what I've done today in trying to give you a little bit more insight about my game and hopefully your game too. I've been struggling a little bit with some destructive shots. My swing, I'm sure we've all suffered with the YouTube fallacy of going on there, finding some tips, let me do this, let me do that. And I'm lucky I can practice 4 or 5 times a week at the driving range. I'm here today at Green Life Driving Range. It's around the corner from my house. It's very handy. But I've been kind of flapping around a little bit with my game. Yeah, of course, I'm still shooting, 5, 6, 7 over all the time, but I know I could be a lot better. So I've decided to take the plunge and put all my chips in with one particular instructor. Now, it's not an instructor. I've used a couple of instructors over here. They've been good. Just lack that little bit of, shall we say, ongoing belief in what they're telling me, going away and working on it thinking it's not for me. This time's a little bit different. I've found a guy on YouTube, you can watch him yourself, Jonathan Chown his name is. It's an interesting channel he's got. He works on Skillis, so you can send your videos in, and he basically does videos in his back garden in a net. He's not attached to any PGA golf course in the UK, I don't believe anyway. His methods and his delivery of those methods and the tips and the drills that he gives you I found really enticing. So I sent Jonathan a couple of my videos for him to analyse. I paid £60 for a one-off lesson, and he's come back with some analysis of my swing, and I want to share those bits of analysis with you. Initially, my 2 swings I sent him from down the line and face on, and then him giving me some drills to work on. So let's cut straight into those, and let's have a listen to what Jonathan has to say about my swing.
Thank you very much for sending in your videos. I really appreciate they wanted me to help you out with your golf swing here. And I had a little look through, obviously, of course, I had a good dive into your swing, and I had a little look through that video you sent through as well. Watch that, that's some very solid golf. So definitely, good player. We can see that from your golf swing. You've got a lot of really, really good things here, but there is one key thing that we want to kind of really train into you. Because me seeing that you can shoot under par rounds, rounds in the 60s, that tells me that your skill level of a golfer is, quite high. You've got that good skill in there. So, and you have that ability to do it because you've done it before. So if we can get your golf swing in and technically just a little bit better of a way in the downswing, we're going to be able to repeat that more often. So when we have days like that, where we have a good round, obviously we feel great. We do. We obviously do. But when we've got a timing element in our golf swing, we know that, let's say the day after could easily be followed by quite a bad round. We could have days where timing is on really well and we will just have a great round. So we want the consistency of those good rounds. So what we're going to see here is something that I do talk a lot about on my channel. And the good thing is your golf swing is in a place right now, Barry, from these videos, where you're a bunch of steps ahead of where I'd normally start off with a student, especially a new student, when working on this area of the golf swing. So of course, this is about using your rotation better. That's a very loaded topic. Usually requires a lot of things to do correctly in the golf swing before you even start working on that. But what we're going to see, we're going to dive into your swing, and we're going to see you've got pretty much all of them. We just need to train that better body movement and downswing so you can have better compression. So just like you noted that you do struggle with compression, we can see how you're going through the golf ball. The golf ball isn't very compressed. So not only will your golf ball be more compressed, so that's kind of like how the aesthetic of the ball flight, be more penetrating, be more consistent in there, but it's also with how you're moving your body, and let's say improving that body movement is going to create more stability of your club face, so you're going to have less left and right shots. Dispersion will be much tighter, and that is really the key to playing and getting your handicap down. As I said, player for six. I think by a long shot here, Barry, you could be scratch in such a short space of time. It's not even funny. So you could be there. You could even be lower than scratch with the things I see in your golf swing. So we're really going to have some great improvement here. So let's have a little look, buddy. So let's look at setup first. So let's look at grip, see what your grip type is. So you've got very standard looking grip. I can see about 2.5 knuckles in that left hand, and I can see with your right hand here. So with your right hand, how we determine grip strength is the line that gets created between thumb and the meat of the hand. So you can see how that line is pointing up towards kind of like your right armpit area. Very neutral. So left hand being 2 to 2.5 knuckles, that's neutral. Right hand, same thing. That's very neutral grip. Awesome. Good start. So you can play with any grip, absolutely, but you've got to match it up with your golf swing. So, but standard grip, you can't really go too much wrong with it. We see good width of stance around shoulder width, good flaring of your feet. That's going to help you tremendously with what we're going to talk about today. Having your feet flared, especially your front foot, it's going to open up your hip capsule, so then you can have better freer rotation for it. Cool. So, ball position also looking pretty nice. So, good thing is, when I'm looking at down the line, what I like with all players to do, which is everyone slacks on, and it's good to see you're not, and that is having foot alignment and club face alignment. Awesome. So we know that that won't be an issue when we're on the practice ground. Making your feet, your hips, your shoulders, your club face, all pointing parallel lines to each other. Absolutely brilliant. Posture's looking great. See how your pelvis is nice and tucked underneath you. Arms are hanging nice and relaxed from your shoulders. Awesome. So let's have a little look here and dive into the swing. So first things first, we'll look at different positions on both of them. So let's get into your takeaway. But first things first, let me draw a center line through your body so we can see your body's movement. So we can see a nice already little tilt set up, which I love. Let's go into the takeaway. So let's go into takeaway in both swings. So sharp arrow to the ground. Here we go. So let's look at that down the line first. So I'm seeing a very good takeaway for a neutral grip. We can see club faces matching spine angle. You can see how your club head is around the region of your hands. It doesn't have to be perfectly covering your hands, doesn't at all. It just needs to be around that for a standard grip. Now, why say that for a standard grip? Because all those videos you see online talking about takeaway, that is for a standard grip. If you were to have a, let's say, quote unquote, perfect takeaway, let's say for a strong grip, the club would actually roll on the inside. You would need to do that to keep the club face square. For a weaker grip, it would actually be a little bit more on the outside, or even slightly on the inside again if you add some bowing early. That would be for a weaker grip. For a standard grip, everything is absolutely ideal and perfect here. Good. So, front on, we can see decent distance between club and body. We can see how your body is already starting to shift a little bit into the right side. Well, I preferably always like players to stay centered, but again, it matters how you match up these movements. Nothing is absolutely set in stone with the golf swing. So let's continue to go up to left arm parallel in the backswing. So you pretty much stayed where you are in that backswing on the front on. You can see kind of natural hinging of those wrists. I like that. Very good. Like L position. You can see your body is turning up at a nice rate. Some pretty good things here, Barry. Same thing again on the down the line. You can see how turning your body very nicely. You can see how your hands here are around your right bicep area. So that's your hands are traveling in and around nicely. They're going on a mirrored arc of the golf swing, which is exactly what they need to do. Looking brilliant so far. So let's carry on. Let's get up to the top of the swing. So, top of the backswing. So we can see, yep, a little bit off the center on the front on angle. Normally I'd see this as a player react quite poorly to this in a downswing. We're going to see you actually match it up quite nicely. From the front, or from the down line, sorry, we can see club face is pretty square. See, left wrist is pretty flat. Exactly what you need to do with a standard grip. Brilliant. Body has got a nice full turn. Loving that. The left arm is covering the view of the right shoulder. So you've got brilliant depth of your left arm and your hands here. Your hands are going down by your heels. So that's going to generate a good club path. Definitely from what I saw on some of the videos there, ball flight was quite consistent in its curvature. When you do a good swing on it, of course. So let's start down on the downswing now. So this is where we're going to see most of the faults. So let's talk about the good thing first. We can see straight away your body fluidly gets onto that left side and downswing quite nicely. So yeah, you have this good amount of shift early on. Absolutely perfect. So if you're going to have a little bit more movement onto that right side, so think of like, let's say, a Rory McIlroy or Tiger back in the early 2000s, they would always, let's say Tiger back in those days, he would shift off a little bit and then he would move back again. So he'd move back quite considerably, quite fast. Henrik Stenson being another one, move a little bit off, a little bit back again. So absolutely fine. You're matching it up. Golfing's all about matching up certain movements together. So let's have a look here. Again, club shaft shallows. Right arm's driving in front of you. Looking good. So what we're going to see is really from here going into the golf ball, because you can see even from the down line, your shaft is loaded very nicely. Still got some good width between club and body. But we're going to notice the rate of rotation of your body is slow. So there's two elements in rotation here, Barry. There's rate of rotation and openness. So how open you can get is just how rotated you generally look at impact, how open you are. Let's talk about like Dustin Johnson, for example. Extremely open to where you can see both back pockets at impact of his trousers. But let's say rate of rotation is just a continuous, steady rotation. No slowdown, no speed up. Speeding up isn't too bad of rotation going through the golf ball, but generally no slowing down of that rotation. So what we generally see is the speed, the rate of the rotation is quite slow, which can affect the openness of it. So that's what we're going to see. We're going to see the arms are very much now traveling at a pace which is faster than the body's rotation. So it's winning the race to the golf ball. So you can see getting slightly open, but really not too much at all, just because the body's rotation has just slowed down. The arms travel at a good pace, because you can still hit the ball a decent distance. But when the arms are winning the race to the golf ball, you'll always see the nice angles you have here, like you see back in that L position, getting in that nice kind of lagged position here. It's going to unload early if the body's rotation isn't controlling it. So this is where a lot of people will be unaware that the body's rotation and movement going through the golf ball is what maintains the angles of the wrists. They'll think that these players getting through the shot when they keep that shaft lean and they might maintain it a little bit past impact, they are holding that angle. Now, a lot of that is because of the commentators on Sky Sports or whatever, golf broadcast have absolutely no idea what they're talking about when it comes to technique. And they will say, he's held that one off nicely, because you can see those angles being maintained. Those players aren't holding on to anything. They're just turning through the golf shot at nice, efficient rotation that is at a nice speed, getting open nicely, and those angles just get maintained. Remember, how fast is impact? It's incredibly fast. You trying to hold an angle isn't going to do anything. If anything, let's say you do hold an angle, you manage to manipulate it, you're going to be more tense in those arms, you're going to lose distance. Because obviously if something's more tense, it can't whip through at a nice pace. So we've got to get that body rotation speeding up, in essence. Get yourself into an impact where that, let's say we can see with the right wrist unloading, won't happen. That's just because the body's rotation is not matching up with the speed of the arm rotation, or the arm speed, I'd say. So that's where you can see coming down, your club face is square, but we still have this big flip roll release. Just because if the arms are traveling at a faster pace than the body, they're going to overtake the movement. You're going to see them rotate. Everything post-impact in the golf swing rotates. So does the hands and arms. But if we can get the body's rotation sped up, and let's say we're getting ourselves to where we're much more in a faster rate of rotation here, what's going to happen is this club is going to start to do the same thing. It's going to start to go in and around you. It's going to still travel from the same path going into the golf ball, maybe a little bit more neutral, maybe a little bit more on the out, but more neutralized from where you are. It's just a little bit on the in. See a little bit of toe strike there. But the club is going to be maintaining this path, and it's going to travel around with that exit left. So what's going to happen to the club face as you do that? It's going to stay even more stable to where you won't see, get rid of all those lines, zoom in, this big rate of closure. The club face is going to stay square. So if I draw lines kind of where the club face would be, let's say that's square, it's going to be more like this. Stay very, very neutral, just travel around and match the swing arc as you're going through. So, long story short here, Barry, we've got to speed up that body movement. So, good thing is your golf swing is in a place to where you can support rotation. Your club face is square, you've got great depth to your hands at the top of the swing and left arm. You shallow the golf club. Your right arm is lovely and connected to your side. We just need to speed up that body's rotation. Make that move the club through the ball rather than your hands and arms just losing your compression. You've got to remember, there's a few elements that create compression. One, having a nice, stable, square club face. But then two, you've got to shift nicely, which you're doing, you've got to rotate, because that's what creates shaft lean. Movement pattern-wise, shifting, rotation naturally creates shaft lean. So that's, in essence, the natural hold of the ankles. Deal off on the club, nice hand of attack, compression. So, what I'm going to do, let's get on camera, let's talk about this. I've got a drill that'll be 100% the best drill for you to do for this, but it's important we do it properly. And a way of practicing without a golf ball as well, which will be extremely beneficial for you here, Barry. So, absolutely, let's get on camera and let's talk about it.
So Barry, like I was saying, we've got to ultimately match up, in essence, the arms of the body a little bit better. So what we see is how your entire golf swing, you get into some really good positions, especially for backswing and early downswing, you're absolutely awesome. But then going through halfway from downswing into the golf ball, the body movement slows down a considerable amount and the hands and arms are firing way faster than the body's moving. So for me, this is more, we've got to get that body speeded up, or sped up would be the way of saying it, and really get that more in control of the golf club going through the shot. So why we want to speed up the body, because if the hands are and the arms are driving force going through the shot, you're always going to get a lot of inconsistent delivery of the club face to your shots. So you could easily hit one left. If you don't time up correctly, you could easily go right on you. Your body isn't controlling that consistent movement. So like we said, that would even make a huge, huge difference. But the compression factor of it, if the body slows down its rate of rotation going into the shots, it's not going to be controlling the hands and arms, which means it's not going to be creating this, shaft lean. If the hands and arms go through it as the body slows down, you're going to get the angles of the wrists unload. It's like I said, keeping your angles and compressing it has nothing to do with holding it. It's impossible to do it. It's by moving the body in a rotational sense. I've got such little grip pressure right now that I could drop the golf club, and you can see if I'm moving my body, those angles get hold. If I don't, you can see how it very easily passes over. So we've got to get that body sped up. And this is a two-step process to doing this. Like any change, you have to work on it without a golf ball efficiently, and then you have to work on it with the golf ball in a controlled environment. So this is where, when you practice, don't hit a ball without the intention of doing this, or at least the drill. I would prefer in the first few practice sessions, first few weeks, every single shot doing the drill. Now, like we said, we want to get that body sped up. So we're going to talk about the drill with the golf ball first, because it better explains the drill without it. So, as you've seen, you're most likely found me from YouTube, so you see probably the drill I talk about the most is a rotation drill called preset rotation drill, which is you get into a setup position at an impact position, rotated impact position. So that's where your hips will be as open as they can be. So this is where people go really, really wrong. They don't rotate their body as much as they're capable of doing. They'll go just to what they think is correct. Don't go what's correct. Go to as much rotation as you possibly can do. So that is open as much as you can here. Open as much as your chest can rotate. That will be less than your hips, because your chest won't be able to rotate as much as your hips can. The weight needs to be 90% on that left side, and then we have our right shoulder going more down towards our right hip, which is the side bending portion. This is something I see people always do wrong with this drill. They'll be too upright. Again, these specific movements you're doing and presetting in as much as you can possibly do. to just where it's almost causing pain. You want to be contorting your body that much because we're trying to force the body to rotate more. So, like I said, you can have your golf swing in a place to do it, but you still have to drill it to happen. So, there we go, rotating as much as I can. So what I want to do from here, so weight's also, like I said, 90% on that left side. Now I want to swing back and spring through with that rotation really whipping through. It's going to help you rotate as much as you can going through the shot, and it's the best way to practice it because it's creating an environment where you're doing it over and over and over again. Just like anything, the more we do it, the better we'll be. And as you know, already getting down to a 6 handicap, and as you said, well, as I saw anywhere in your YouTube channel, you can play some good golf. You know nothing comes into your golf swing fast. This trying to get something into your golf swing like that does not exist because it goes completely against how we as people learn movement patterns or learn any type of motor skill. It takes a long time for us to be able to coordinate this. So, hips open as much as you can, weight 90% on the left side, chest open as much as you can, right shoulder down. Now we're only swinging back to a half swing and then springing back through, rotating as much as we can. Now, passing through this position, not trying to get in this position and that being your main focus, getting here, but passing through it, rotating through this position. So why I say it like that, because that's going to massively help you understand that, as we know, it's a rotation through the shot, not necessarily getting into an impact position. Impact is a split second in time. It more just shows us how we're moving through the golf ball more than anything. But what's going to be the most important thing with this here, Barry, as you're doing this, the hands are going to be really exaggerated forward. Even at your setup when you do this, the hands will naturally be this far forward. So, just get a lot of reps and a lot of drill shots in with that. Swing back, swing through. That's going to be the best way for you to get this body speeding up because you're targeting the body as you're doing that. It's a body orientated drill. Now, how we can work on this without the ball is probably the most important part. This is where I've got my smash bags, my impact bag here. Best thing you can ever have for improving a golf swing is a smash bag. Now, luckily, what we're working on, it targets that, which is good. That's kind of why this was made, is what we're doing in your golf swing, trying to get more compression. But whatever you're working on in the golf swing, if you have a way that buffers practice swing, as our practice swings could easily just be trying to exaggerate that rotated position. If we have something in between practice swing and actual shot, that's how we can bridge the gap and make our practice swing closer to our real shot. Because as we all know, we can get where we want to in a practice swing easy, because there's no ball you're reacting to. But with this, you're not hitting something to a target. You're just hitting something. So it's when you have something that has general mass where there's going to be an impact to it, to where, let's say if it was a feather or a leaf, there's not enough mass to it for your body to respond to it. So it'll be just like a practice swing. But with this, there's obvious mass to it, to where your body will tense up. It will react quite similarly to what it would do with a golf ball. Only difference is we're not hitting this to a target. So if you're practicing with this and getting that real rotated position, so you can do it with the preset rotation drill, just smack the bag, or you could just do some swings where you're really, really feeling like that body is really rotating as much as it can going through the shot. So getting really, really open and passing through it, and the bag just gets in the way as you're swinging. But you're going to notice, because this is ultimately what this bag does, is it creates the sensation of more shaftling. Because to hit this bag and have it feel flush when you're hitting it, to have it feeling decent, you have to have those hands more forward to do it. But of course, we don't want to do that just by shoving and holding hands like we know. We have to do it via really turning that body through the shot. And you can see it really creates this kind of look here, this visual where my hands are still ahead of the club face. So it over exaggerates it, crazy. So that's where you can imagine, right, if I had, let's say I brought this to the driving range with me, which I've done plenty of times, and it's hilarious in people's reactions because it sounds so loud when you hit it. It makes people jump when they're hitting the shots, which can be quite funny if they're mid-downswing. So, but you're there to improve your golf swing, so you're more than in your rights to use this. So let's say I was doing 3 of these hits. I'd say 3 to 5 in between every shot. Really rotate as much as I can. Let's say that was my 3rd. Move it away, and I'll grab a ball. Let's say a couple balls. Do some practice swings in between. do my pre-shot rotation here. See now, because I've primed my body doing that, to get that feeling, and I've done something where I've been hitting something with mass to it, so it's creating that better connection in my subconscious. It's gonna be way easier for me to then to get a good rep with the golf ball, because the reps with the golf ball are what matters. But here's the thing, even with myself here, what I'm doing when I'm practicing at the moment, I'm actually experimenting with just practicing with this and then going and playing, because obviously, as we know, summertime, especially here in the UK, look like you're over in Spain there. That video was in Spain as well, wasn't it? So you might experience this all year round if you're living out there. But for myself, here in the UK, we only get a limited amount of time to play, don't we? I don't want to spend all the time in the driving range hitting balls. One, because I don't have the time, because as you know, YouTube videos take a long time to edit, and I do less than 8 hours a day. So I don't have time to go to the driving range, a little bit of time to go and practice, or to go and play, to where I just want to nip in the net for a little bit, get the most efficient work I can with this, and then go out and play. It's working quite good so far. So this is really, really important stuff. So you don't absolutely have to have an impact bag, for example. You can have just like a heavy cushion. That's all that's in these. It's just cushions. That's all that's in it. So really good way to practice it. But this will ultimately help you speed up your body rather than your arms being the driving force for it. You'll be able to compress the ball more, be able to control this better. You'll be able to hit the ball way, way better. Like I said for yourself there, Barry, you've got so many good things in your golf swing, we can get way lower than 6. As I said, you're pretty much, swing quality wise, I've seen scratch golfers with way worse golf swings than you. When I was at scratch, my swing was worse. So, definitely the potential is there. So, any questions, buddy? Fire them through. But other than that, I'm looking forward to the next one. Have a great time practicing. Cheers.
So I hope you found that interesting. I've got quite a lot to work on now, but it's, as Jonathan's put it, it's quite straightforward what I have to do. Faster turn in the body, not letting them arms dictate my golf swing. So now I've got a very clear plan, and hopefully over the next few videos you'll start to see, I'll do an update video with Jonathan, of course, when I've had time to start to get some real reps in with those drills. Hopefully you'll see that in some of the, I don't want to say scores, because it can take a little while to replicate that on the golf course, but start to see the evidence of what I'm trying to do. Because I was finding that with the delivery I had, the ball was going a little bit too high, my irons weren't going as long. The swing I've got, the driver's fine, I'm hitting it 310, it's not a problem. But I was getting those kind of floaty irons that weren't compressed enough, and I'm hoping that you'll see that in the upcoming video. So thanks once again for watching here on Barry Golf, and I promise you there'll be regular updates from here on in.